Hello, YouTube. Hope you're having a wagtastic day out there. This is Universebear from the Wagatorium with yet another Warhammer Total War battle replay. This time I'm bringing my Green Tide against some Vampire Coast, the Sartoshan Pirates to be exact, even though they're all zombies. Didn't actually bring any Sartoshan Pirates. Can't remember the name of my opponent off the top of my head, but we'll see it in the end screen there. So this is definitely a pretty hard matchup for the Greenskins. There's a lot of fear and terror causing units here. A lot of ranged. Usually they can bring in bats to shut down the my ranged, although a lot of those units were nerfed recently, so I haven't seen quite as many of those. But still, Mongols with anti-infantry and just ton of good units and a bunch of good spells. Can be kind of hard sometimes, but see how we do here. So we can go through I guess my opponent's army first. So he did bring Queen Bess here, good old Bessie. Does a ton of damage, slows units on impact. Just 16 ammunition though, so once it runs out of ammunition it can't really do much. If you have a gunnery white you can keep refilling it, but my opponent did not bring one, so you're just going to get those 16 shots. He needs to hope they hit, but if they hit they're going to do a ton of damage. He's also brought 2 cannons here. Cannon's pretty good if I brought any large of my own, although I don't think I would against the Vampire Coast because they have so many AP rounds, but also good at sniping lords. Or casters or things of that nature. You could see he's went very wide here, which is smart because the Greenskins typically go very wide to counter the pirates. So if he goes wide himself, it can kind of help keep his backline safe. So he's brought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zombie pirate deckhand bobs with pole arms who do have AP and anti-large. Be pretty good against any cavalry if I brought some, and then he's got a bunch of regular deckhand mobs. They're cheap, 300. Their weapon strength was reduced recently, I think, but it's still pretty good at 29 for a very cheap unit. 7 AP, not bad at all. Just pretty weak on the melee attack and melee defense, but when they do hit, they hit pretty decent. You can see on the front here, a bunch of handguns. They do have AP and they have pretty good range. So if I did bring Black Orcs or anything like that, they would rip them up pretty bad. And then he brought some Night Terrors, the Mournguls over here. They have anti-infantry, fear and terror. They do a lot of damage. I think they do splash attacks because they do tend to just rip up units of infantry. That's what they're really good at doing. He did bring the Roar one. So they have stock and the hunger. Yeah, so if they get into a fight while they're fighting, they're going to regenerate. So you really need to focus these guys down pretty quick, or they're going to last a long time. And then for general, he just brought the Fleet Admiral with pistols here. What did he bring with him? He brought Invocation of the Heck and Drowned Dead. So he's got some summons and some healing, really all you need, and he's also got the hunger. So just a big old fat wide army from the Vampire Coast with a pretty big backline and a bunch of artillery. So on my side here, I've also gone quite wide, just bringing in some cheap troops. The Orc boys, they got shields, they got huge weapon strength, 34. With 8 armor piercing, a pretty good melee attack, melee defense, nothing to write home about. I did bring the AP loonies. They won't run away, so they'll just anchor my front line there. The Warlords boys, they have armor sundering, so against any crabs that he might bring or depth guard, they're going to help out there for sure, although he didn't bring any, so they're probably not going to do too much. The more Orc boys here just to fill out the line. Brought a ton of archers. I find bringing archers really a good way to deal with the Vampire Coast. They can take bats down, they can take Noctilus down, they could take the gunners down pretty good. I found if I was bringing too many Orc Arrow boys, they couldn't deal with Mournguls very good because they don't have as many units as the Night Goblins, and they have poor accuracy, so they have a little bit of difficulty dealing with units like that who have low armor. And are a little bit harder to hit. They're really good at dealing with things like the crabs and Noctilus, though. which is why I like bringing them, because I feel that the Night Goblin archers have a little bit of trouble with that. And the Night Goblin archers also can't defend themselves against zombies very well, and the Orc Arrow boys can. So I brought some Goblin archers just in case he brought Morghuls, because I did have a match where I had all Orc Arrow boys. He brought a bunch of Morghuls, and they couldn't take him down fast enough. So I've decided to start trying to combine arms, I guess, in that kind of sense. Over here I got some Squig Hoppers, just try to get in the back line, mess them up that way. On the sides I got some Savage Orc Biggins. I bring them almost every game. Deal with large, they can deal with infantry, they could deal with monsters. They got good AP. Bones versus large. It's really hard to go wrong with a couple of these guys, I find. Nasty Skulkers in the back in case they had any hounds or anything that were going to try to get in my back line. Didn't bring Wurzog on this one. I find he usually gets sniped out too easily, especially when he's on his hog. So I brought Grimgor here. He's got his giant axe, but he doesn't have Gesnit because I think it's a little too expensive for what it does. He's just got Wog and Stand Your Ground. Foe Seeker in case he needs to get away or if he really needs to get into something. You can see over here got an Orc Shaman instead of Wurzag, so he's going to be trying to do what he can. He's got Foot of Gork over here. He's got Here We Go, Fist of Gork. Didn't bring the smaller spells because without the Bonewood Staff, there's no real need to bring them. I'd rather use my my Winds of Magic on more effective spells, I guess you could say. So we can get this battle rolling. So I should be moving up here momentarily. He is going to fire off Queen Bess, so I need to get moving. I want to get in there as fast as I can. You can see his cannons opening up on Grimgor right away. It's going to be a little bit harder to hit them because he's not on a mount. He's a bit of a smaller target. He can do quite a bit of damage. He just doesn't have a lot of HP. Is Grimgor's problem. They did buff the mass on him, so I find he does pretty well, especially against monstrous infantry. You can actually take those guys down pretty fast, I find. But if it gets focused down, he's still going to get taken out pretty easily. So you can see these Morghuls coming out here unsupported. Don't know if that's a smart idea. I guess they're going to try to get some damage on these Orc boys, but as soon as I see it, I'm going to bring all my archers to bear. I know I need to focus these guys down super fast. They're going to do a ton of damage. And you can see how much damage they do. Bringing Fist of Gork on these 8-peak loonies, just because, again, I want to take these guys down as quickly as I can. But even with Fist of Gork, down below half health now in, a few seconds. Maybe Queen Bess is helping on that side of things too. But with all the archer fire and the buffs and Grimgor coming in here, laying down the old axe, he does pretty well. I gotta come in the back line here. I really want to get rid of these cannons, especially Queen Bess, who's just wrecking my front line here. So getting them in here, you try to bring in these gunnery mobs, I guess, to stop them for some reason. And for some reason, they just come off Queen Bess. I'm not sure why. I didn't tell them to do that, so that's annoying. Front lines are engaging, so I'm popping the Wog, and these guys are in the back, so I'm popping as well, because I just want to take all this down as fast as I can. He is bringing in some pole arms here to chase off the Squigs. Definitely a good call. You can see the Orc boys definitely going to be winning their engagements against the zombies right now. Good thing about zombies, though, is that they don't run away, so even when they get broken, they're just going to stay there and fight. It's going to be hard for me to come into their back line, start shutting things down. You see Queen Bess, though, is still doing a ton of damage. Got to unclump these units, make sure they can't get as much damage as this. Like, look at that, Rusty Arrows, gone, one shot. I do have the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers on here, but they're just not killing fast enough. And I guess that's another thing about the zombie artillery is they're not going to run away. So you really got to kill all of them. And once he starts flooding the board with all these units, it's really hard to actually get rid of them. So it's going to still be firing, even though I have a full unit of Squig Hoppers on it. Here, Grimgor getting pretty hurt. Cannons have been firing at it the whole time, so I think they've been doing a ton of damage to him, especially up close when he's in melee and not just running side to side. So that's what I mean by even though he's on foot, he's not on a mount, he's still pretty easily gankable by the Vampire Pirates, who have a lot of abilities to take out lords, and once the lords are gone, it's really hard for the Greenskins to keep fighting. So it's a huge weakness, along with the fear and terror that they usually bring. Makes it a hard matchup for sure. But we're still in this bad boy. We're still kicking. Grimgor did do a fair amount of damage to the Vampire Fleet Admiral, which is definitely going to help us out. You can see that the healing cap is there, so they actually had to heal themselves up to stay alive. Got a pretty good pocket here with a little bit of a surround. Just trying to work these guys down. And Queen Bess still just barely taking any damage. These guys have 48 kills. They've just been stuck in the whole time, but they just can't get through the amount of units here. So they're eventually going to have to flee. Savage Orc Big Guns, they're doing quite well. 107 kills, just ripping apart infantry all day, every day. And you know, all these guys are getting good work done. But because my opponent did go super wide, there's just a lot to chew through. And with the summons that have been coming up, it just adds even more units. So there's only so much that we can chew through, you know, before we just start running out of steam, because the Greenskins do really rely on that first initial punch. Afterwards, it's kind of hard for them to keep going. See over here, just take some pot shots at some units. A lot of stuff is starting to rout, and he's going to come here, try to take out my back line. Archer been doing a good job of taking out his back line. I think that's mostly what they've been shooting at, just trying to get rid of all the AP missiles, and just trying to deal with all that. You can see over here, Savage Orc Big Guns up to 138 kills. It's going to be up to the Savage Orc Big Guns really to rip all this apart. Unfortunately, Queen Bess got all her shots off. It's 216 kills for Queen Bess. Because she doesn't have a gunnery white, they're not going to be able to do anything more with that. So now it's just kind of a melee troop sitting over there. He's doing a good job of chasing stuff away, making sure I can't come back. Although I don't think he needs 2 units to come over here. He probably could have split them off, but that's all right. I'm going to try to gank the Vampire Fleet Admiral over here. He doesn't have any support. So I'm going to bring all my units down to bear. If I can beat him, I can beat the rest of his army. You can see we're doing quite well. We have chopped through quite a bit of his units over here. All he's really got left is zombie some zombie deckhand mobs. Why is everything in Warhammer Total War so hard to say? Zombie pirate deckhand mobs, and we got some Savage Orc Big Uns over here. Anyway, you can see the fear and terror of this Vampire Fleet Admiral. Gonna be enough to chase away these nasty skulkers. I'm gonna try to bring in the Orc boys here and the Warlord boys to try to sandwich these guys and just get those guys off the field. Over here, the Shaman found himself surrounded in a bad position, and he just can't get out of there for some reason. I guess his mass isn't big enough to break through these zombies. Tried to support him with the Orc boys, but again, I think the fear is just working against them. Plus, they're pretty tattered, and they're getting shot at, so they're going to flee, and the Shaman's going to go down. That's going to be the last of my leadership. We are still winning, though. So I'm hoping the boys can really just you know, keep things together on their own. I know they don't have a warlord anymore, but you know, the strongest fighter could maybe become the warlord, and they just have to show everyone else who's boss. So hopefully someone emerges out of the green tide that's left. So my opponent here regrouping, definitely smart. I'm also regrouping on my side. I want to get my leadership back in check. So get everything supporting each other, get those flank secured morale bonuses. The Savage Orc Big Guns are going to have to bite the bullet. I just can't get anyone else over here in time. But they've done a ton of work. 247 kills right now. They're going to be forced to run away. But I don't begrudge them that. They did quite a good job. The 8 Peak Loonies also got 119 kills. You know, sticking in for the long run. 6 units left, doing quite well, and they're also buying me quite a bit of time to regroup my forces here. So balance bar, way in my favor. Should be a pretty easy cleanup here. We're going to get this battle underway for the second engagement. I guess almost the third engagement, really. You can see a lot of my troops are tatted, though. They're going to come in here. No, these guys are. They're going to run away, and these guys are going to also run away. the Nasty Skulkers, hero of their people, coming in with a smoke bomb, making sure these guys don't get any kind of charge bonus off, even though it's only a 5. And the archers are trying to whittle away what's left of this gunnery mob. I need to get rid of the gunnery mob because when things take range damage, they also take morale damage, and my guys are so low on morale that any kind of support like that would just buckle them right away. Gonna bring in these Savage Orc Big Guns. They're back. Didn't run away for long, and they just wanted to cleave some more zombies. So getting that sweet rear charge. But these Nasty Skulkers, I don't think are going to stick around too long. Maybe they will. They're doing pretty good. These Orc Boys had enough. I guess they routed enough times. That just turned into a full break there. And even though these guys had the surround, they just couldn't last. Morale was too low. And now the Orc Arrow Boys, out of ammo, are going to charge in. They have 92 kills. They've been doing a lot of work. And they have good melee stats for archers, 34 weapon strength. So they should do quite well, but you can see a lot of my stuff is buckling. I don't have a lot left. These Orc Arrow Boys trying to get over here away from the Vampire Fleet Admiral. If I could finish these guys off, I can bring these guys over here to try to take them out and maybe get my archers firing on the rest of these gunnery mobs. You can see that balance of power is way in our favor. But without leadership, it's just so hard for the Greenskins to even hold a huge lead like that. With Fear and Terror, it's a very powerful tool against the Greenskins. And in a situation like this, there's just not a lot you can do. Even if you get surrounds, they're going to be breaking. Just because I guess they're afraid of skinny, rotting corpses and good-looking vampires. So they're going to break. I'm going to lose that one. Surprising loss for sure. Yeah, I thought we had it in the bag, but I guess we just couldn't hold on to our morale in the end. Honestly, not really sure why Greenskins are afraid of vampires. I'm not even sure if they have blood, being a plant-based organism. But I guess they are afraid of them, and it really caused everyone to rout. You can see we got tons of kills. They only had 68 people left. But because they're able to shoot out Grimgore so fast, it really just wrecked our whole leadership core. And once that was done, the Fear and Terror of all the units they had was enough to rout the rest of the army. So it was definitely a very close match and a huge comeback from s.o.s.firestorm. I like that he went really wide with his army. That was definitely a good call. And he used those cannons to good effect. And in the end there, he was really just able to clinch it back. So good game from s.o.s.firestorm. I hope we get to meet on the leaderboard again. All right, guys, take care.